Trying to learn how to skateboard as an adult definitely has its challenges, especially after you've taken a really bad slam like I did recently that resulted in surgery and months of physical therapy. As of recently, I've been trying to get back on the horse. Unfortunately, I've lost all my confidence after the first couple sessions. I've just built this super high fear and anxiety factor around the idea of even riding my skateboard anymore, and it sucks. I'm finally starting to break down this whole mental barrier, all this fear and anxiety. I'm slowly starting to get comfortable on my board. It's been a few weeks now, but before we get into how I finally got to this headspace that I'm in now, let's back up to a few days ago when I had a full-blown anxiety panic attack at the skate park. Today is like my first day skating again. I've been slowly tinkering with it. Had an injury. Now I got my splints off. Basically just want to talk about like getting back into skating when you're in your 30s after an injury, or just like starting to skate at 30 no matter what the situation. Maybe you weren't injured and you just want to get into skateboarding. Yeah, first tip is go to the skate park so you can just see people crushing it, and it's pretty inspiring. I got my first slam out of the way. I feel like that's a big part of it. It's just like, especially when you're getting back into it or you're learning how to skate, you're relearning how to skate, just taking a couple slams, just like realizing, all right, that's the worst of it. Not the very worst, but like that's what it's gonna be like when you fall. The one thing I have to be really careful right now is trying not to put my hands down. I'm trying to just like take it to the shoulder more. Sometimes that could be one of those situations where I get more hurt. Just want to give you some feedback. I think like one of the first things you have to do is just get a couple falls under your belt. I think one thing that really helps me get back into the groove of skating, or learning how to skate in general, is just being around other people that are trying to learn and progress and skate, get out of their comfort zone essentially. Dan's over here like learning tricks, doing new things, and I think that's crucial so that you don't get too much into your own head or just caught up in like trying to do better or trying to progress, because sometimes you just gotta like be in the moment. When I see people that barely know how to skate but they're like just going for it, to me that's really motivating, kind of just strips off all the barriers. As you get older too, like if you have an older friend who's just learning how to drop in with them is going to be a big bonus, so that you're not so like, you know, comparing yourself to the best skaters at the skate park. You don't want to compare yourself, but it is fun to have other people pushing with you. One thing I'm going to do today is actually not go too much out of my comfort zone, as much as I said you have to. I'm basically not going to skate the bowl today. I brought my helmet, got everything ready, but if it's too scary, just take a step back. Unfortunately, I had to abruptly leave the skate session. I'm having like crazy anxiety today. I don't know what it is. I think just because like I haven't been skating in so long. It's just a combination of like being scared to skate, getting back into it, and then also just like being farther away from my house, like an hour away from my house. Basically, I'm just driving home. I gotta get home because I need to like desensitize. I don't feel good right now at all. So it's been a few days since that session, and after having some time to collect my thoughts, I think there's a couple of reasons why I just have an anxiety attack and just like couldn't really skate. I think one reason is because the slam is like starting to catch up with me, or it's still in my head. I thought it wasn't, but I took a couple falls and then like I started feeling shaky in my board and just not really solid and confident. So I think that started to play a factor. I have like trauma, essentially like skate trauma from the slam, and I thought I was gonna be fine. So the different thing I'm gonna do now is just try to get like more regimented and just have like hour-long sessions. So today I'm at a skate park like really close to me, closest skate park that I could find. So we're getting some skating in and see if I can feel better without having that like crazy anxiety feeling. Because last thing I want to have is like that feeling every time I go and skate, because I think that's what deters a lot of people from skating. It's just like this fear of falling and just like a lot of fear and anxiety essentially. So hopefully today we can like penetrate some of that and get a fresh start. Oh baby. Oh. Barely made it on there. Ah. Just to scare myself a little bit. Oh God. Oh God. Something that's helped me build up my confidence and have like less of that scared to skate feeling is just doing a trick that I do know over 3 times, or at least 3 times instead of like once and kind of rolling around. I love to just like hit different obstacles at the skate park. I don't really like to focus on one trick. Typically, I like to just bounce around, do the tricks that I know how to do. So that is something that I did the other day at City Heights. Big difference now is I'm just trying to do more of the same trick over and over and over. I think that has made me feel like more comfortable and just less like loose feeling less like those shaky legs. Essentially, the shaky legs kind of are starting to go away a little bit. Still feel scared when I'm skating, but just something about like doing the same trick over and over. If you don't know how to do any tricks at all, just like riding on the board, that's what it is. So I guess sometimes about like not actually pushing yourself, not trying to go out of your boundaries and not trying to learn tricks or anything, but just being persistent, showing up every day and just like hitting the ball every time, no matter what, and not even trying to get better, but just doing it. I think that's a big difference in this session. So something that I forgot about that really helps with your confidence, helped me with my confidence. Here in my backyard, I had this routine. What I was doing before this skate trauma had happened, before this slam had happened, was 5 like really hard tricks in a row. So something I started doing yesterday afternoon, is I was wearing my helmet, put my helmet on. That's always a good thing to like just build up your confidence if you're scared or anything like that. Normally I don't wear helmets, not all the time do I wear helmets, especially I'm just like floating through the skate park, but when I'm skating alone in my backyard, I definitely think it's just like a good thing to help me like get motivated along with some music. I started to try to think of like 4 somewhat hard, not really hard, but somewhat scary tricks that I can do consistently in a line in a row. So the first trick that I started trying to do is a feeble fakie. It was really scary at first, of course, but I have this trick on lock. Normally, typically before this injury, I would do this trick and commit to it right away. So after a few, I got it down pretty good. And then I tried to do this fakie board slide to Smith grind. I'm not really sure what it's called, but essentially I was trying to do both those tricks back to back. After a few tries of the fakie slide to frontside Smith, I got it. And the whole idea was to do both these tricks in a row. So I was doing the feeble fakie, then I was doing the fakie board slide to Smith, and then I was doing a pivot fakie on my extension, and then I was coming back over to a fakie front 50 back to regular. And the point is that all these tricks are scary for me, but they're not too scary, not to the point where I'm like terrified to do it. And the other thing that I started to notice is the more and more I started to do them, they were less scary. By the end of the session, I had so much more confidence that I was able to get the whole line. I put it all together, and I wasn't able to get the back blunt. At the very end of the line, I wanted to do a back blunt after the fakie front 50 back to regular. I wanted to do backside blunt. I just couldn't get it. It was too scary. So that's where I drew the line. I was like, you know what, that one's not worth it. But it was just a good confidence booster basically to do the line and get a couple scary tricks under my belt, but just doing them over and over and over and over and being very repetitive. I think it really helps just give you more confidence and like strip away of a lot of that fear and anxiety. As of now, I'm still really scared to skate. I have built some confidence now that I've had the sessions. I've gone through some anxiety and some fear, but the one thing that I did notice when like making this video, going through some of the footage, is the few slams that I have had, I don't put my hands down at all. I can tell that I'm like terrified to put my hands down. I'm going to my shoulders or my hips or my butt, my chest maybe. So that is something I definitely need to figure out in the future, because I can't like not brace myself. That's the thing about like skate trauma, is like you end up like sort of combating it. Essentially that's what I'm doing right now. I'm like not putting even my good hand, I'm not putting it down. I've noticed that. I think it's just like my reaction right now, so I gotta figure it out in the future. I hope you guys like this video. Hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, all that stuff. Mash. I think in general, when you're trying to relearn anything, especially skateboarding, you just really have to lower your expectations that you used to have. Like you can think like, oh, I used to be able to do this trick, I used to have that trick, or you used to like have a different way of skating or whatever. I think lowering your expectations and just like accepting things sometimes is really good. You don't always have to do that if you want to progress, but like I think relearning how to skate or getting back into skating, it's not so much about progression, it's just about getting comfortable on the board. So yeah, lowering your expectations mentally will help you just like enjoy yourself.